ladies and gentlemen. Walking with J.Beau. An almost daily walking vlog. Once again, now that temperatures are warming up, still feels a little cool today, even though it's 34 degrees. It was supposed to be 37, but it isn't, and it's windy. So it feels like it's 30 or under, but we'll be okay. So, looks like Maine here is in the national news because of Governor Janet Mills. And before I get into that, I want to explain that she is in her second term, her second 6-year term. So she's been the governor for 8 years. She has 4 years left. And I'm sure they're going to groom another idiot to replace her. Probably that Shanna Bellows, who's the Secretary of State that tried to kick Trump off the ballot. Or something like that. Anyway. She is a progressive. And at times, because she understands this is a purple state, she will do things to go against her party. That's why I'm really surprised that she is defending the men playing in women's sports, which Trump called out to her face at a governor's meeting, which I really enjoyed. So she's in a tough spot because here's why. She has to defend the Democratic Party's policies here in Maine. They were hell-bent on passing that when they thought that was a political thing that would help them. And now that it isn't, which it isn't, by the way, literally 79% of the voting public does not support men playing in women's sports. 69%. Okay, 69. One poll I saw said 67%, but the point is it's up there of Democrats don't support it. So now they're forced to defend it because the legislators here, some of which are loony lefties, passed anti-discrimination laws saying that if you cancel stuff like that, you're being bigoted, transphobe, discriminating against people. So they're in a tough spot, and the courts are going to have to settle it. Really stupid things when blue states pass these laws, like California did, New York, other states like Michigan. And the thing is, Democrats here running for re-election didn't mention the trans issues because it was politically toxic at that point. The tide had turned, and even though they kind of like skirted or tried to ignore the subject, a lot of these Democrats lost their elections. So the Democrats don't have full power majority like they did before. They have a slim margin in the legislature with representatives, and they have a slim margin in the Senate by only a couple of seats. And the really important thing to understand is that Maine is a purple state. So there are a lot of moderate Democrats in seats where they come from red districts. And they're going to have to skirt around on this issue because the ones that got reelected weren't pushing this agenda. So it's not a popular thing in Maine, despite what people may think. I have no idea why they went that route, other than it had to have been because of donors and money and the national agenda they were pushing, like they do in Europe. Which, by the way, these are the same people that finance campaigns and politicians in Europe are trying to do the same thing in the United States. People like George Soros. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens. I like how the Department of Justice flipped the tables on the state of Maine and filed a lawsuit against Maine for violating Title IX, because these policies discriminate against women. And also the policies they have here for DEI discriminate against white people. So that will go to the Supreme Court. If the Supreme Court interprets the law as written, then DEI and this men playing in girls' sports should be banned, and Title IX will have finally settled that issue and closing that loophole that Democrats were trying to exploit. Even though it's politically toxic to them now, they cannot abandon it because they're stuck. It's an albatross around their neck. They're the ones that promoted it. They're the ones that sold it to the public. And in DC, congressional approval for Republicans is at 46%, which is very high for congressional bodies. And Democrats are at a 40-year low at around 21%. So the American public is not being sold on this stuff. And also I should mention, 70% of the public supports what Doge is doing, despite the media blitz trying to make it look like they don't. Democrats are trying to exploit bad polling, which says Trump has dropped down a couple of points in popularity. Even though he's still more popular than he ever has been, the Democrats are saying that he's no longer popular. You can believe that. Because of Doge and things like that, which the people voted for, by the way. And according to polling, has 70% approval. So their numbers that they're trying to force just doesn't add up. It don't jive. So there's that. That's my opinion on that. Now there's other examples where federal law trumps state laws. Plenty of examples. I'll just use one that came to mind. When you buy a firearm and you do a background check with the FBI when you purchase it, there's a little area on there asking if you do drugs, which includes marijuana, it says, if you smoke marijuana. And if you do, you're not allowed to buy a firearm. Now, Maine law says marijuana is legal for recreational use. It's not against the law here. But you still will not get a firearm. You will be denied if you are truthful on the form. And that's the thing. There's no way to check it. People don't have to do a blood test or anything to buy a firearm, because that violates Second Amendment rights. So it's pointless to have it on there. How many people, if they're an alcoholic and they're buying a firearm, are going to admit that they're an alcoholic? I just don't see it happening. So very interesting, the angle and take that they do on these things. So I don't know what the deal is on that, but I do know that in that instance, federal law is not the same as state law. Federal law takes over state law, so that's just what they do. So anyway, that should be the same thing. So they're not pushing and promoting a factual thing. So the federal government has rights to pull that money for states that don't comply. And so the Trump administration should win on pulling that money, I would think. And so we'll see what happens, but realistically, I believe Trump administration should come out ahead on that, even though the money is appropriated by Congress. There's about 79 lawsuits filed against the Trump administration already. The Democrats are trying to say Trump's losing his lawsuits. He's lost one, and it was a temporary pause, which had to do with being able to fire a head of an agency. So that's going to end up going to the Supreme Court. So that's not losing in the courts. And the Democrats always like to make themselves sound better, instead of just owning it, saying, you know what, people voted for this, and we need to own why they voted for this, and try to convince them not to vote for them in the next election, which is what you're supposed to do in a democratic country. Even though we are a republic, we have democratic processes. Wow, look at the icicles on that house. See, a lot of people say things like, if you see icicles like that, that house has poor insulation. That's not necessarily true. It's been so cold, I don't think it really matters. So anyway, that's my thoughts on Janet Mills. And the reason why I say that sometimes she goes against her own party, and she should have on this trans bill, she should have vetoed it. And she didn't do it because of party pressure nationally. So she didn't have the cojones to do it. She voted against 2 anti-gun laws. She vetoed those, thankfully. And, you know, Maine's a purple state. But they choose the wrong things to try to make voters happy. And I can tell you that men playing in girls' sports, boys playing in girls' sports in school, is not something that people here support. Yet, there it is, we have it. And I have mentioned it to you before, that the legislature here passed an amendment, some kind of committee process to to prevent it from being able to go to referendum where people could vote for it. So if it had, people would not have voted to support it. And that's why the Democrats passed it anyway, the way they did it. And it should be made clear as well that they tried to pass it the first time in 2023, and it didn't pass in the legislature, despite the Democrats having a majority. The only way they could get it passed, and they had a pretty good size majority, the only way they could get it passed was they tacked on abortion to it. So that was the only way they could sell it to women to go along with it. Like, okay, well, we'll have boys playing in girl sports, but we'll be able to kill our babies. So I guess that's the mentality they took. They got enough support, and now people don't want it. So there has been a bill introduced in this new legislature to repeal it, as well as repealing the abortion exceptions, as well as repealing gun laws that they passed, which the gun laws really had nothing to do with gun restrictions, because firearms are still not restricted here in Maine at all. A couple of Democrats want to put in magazine size capacity restrictions and things like that in this session. But like I said, they don't have a big enough majority, and you have Democrats from moderate counties and townships where they're basically red districts. So the Democrats that do get elected there cannot support gun control, and the gun measures that they did pass barely passed, even though they had a really good sized majority at the time last year. And the year before that, they had a bigger majority, and they couldn't get anything passed. So everything is so tight right now. Democrats have lost seats because of their policies, and they're going to have a difficult time passing things. But on the other hand, the Republicans will as well, but the Republicans actually may have a better chance because of those said moderate Democrats, the blue dog Democrats from red districts, may be forced to vote for something like repealing the gun law that they passed with the 72-hour waiting period, which is also a bill that's been introduced. I think there's been 5 or 6 different ones introduced having to do with reversing what they've done for gun control here, which really hasn't accomplished anything except take money out of the gun stores' pockets, which is probably their goal to begin with. So we'll see what happens, but don't listen to the national media's opinions. You know, Trump drops 1 point in the polls, all of a sudden it's, oh my God, Trump is slipping, ha ha ha, and they try to make a news story out of it. That's just not what's happening. Some people are a little nervous about things, which is understandable. So Trump signed an executive order ushering in more transparency. So they're going to be issuing more information to the public so people know what they're doing and how they're doing it, so there's no surprises. And I think that's a good idea. So we should start seeing more transparent information, even though in my opinion they've been pretty transparent. Now the Republicans are putting a big, beautiful budget bill together, which is probably going to end up being two separate bills, whether the Republicans like it or not, because you got everything from funding the military to funding people with programs like SNAP benefits, Medicare, things like that. There are a lot of people that need SNAP benefits. There's a lot of people that need Medicare. Now, the numbers I was reading being reported today looked a little iffy to me. I really don't believe the numbers that were given in the media. I don't know where they got those numbers. They want to cut 230 billion with a B, from food stamps, SNAP benefits. I'm like, how can that be? As far as I knew, it was 123 billion being spent and increased to 770 million last year. So how are they going to cut more than they're spending on it? That didn't even make sense when I read it. So I have no idea where that info came from. And they said 880 billion on Medicare. I don't believe that number either. So there's something wonky with those numbers. It is a lot of money, but that comes out to $1 trillion a year in just two items. And I'm not buying that. I know we overspend and stuff, but that's a little outrageous in my opinion. So we'll get more info on that stuff. I do know they're going to increase spending on the military. They're going to have to, since Joe Biden gave everything away to everybody. I'm hoping all the cuts that get done with Doge make a big dent. Personally, with the amount of money we spend, I think it would be, I don't think it's going to make as big a dent as people think, because I don't think people realize how much money our government is wasting every year. So definitely the other news I heard was, I flip the camera around. The other news I heard, hi everybody. The other news I heard was merging the ATF with the FBI, or downsizing the ATF. I heard that Kash Patel, per ABC News, don't know how accurate it is, it's ABC News after all, is reporting that Trump is going to consolidate the ATF by putting Kash Patel in charge of it temporarily, allegedly, so they can oversee what's going on at the ATF, with gun owners getting harassed, FFL licenses getting pulled from businesses for grammatical or paperwork errors. I mean, these people just run a gun store. They're not accountants, you know what I mean? Or lawyers. So they just fill out what they're told to fill out, and sometimes they'll get something wrong on it, and they end up losing their FFL license. So a record number of licenses have been pulled with people that used to sell firearms, no longer do, and they've gone on to do something else, because that's what's happened. So we'll see what happens with all this stuff. But you know, this has been long overdue. And the other thing I heard that they were talking about is privatizing the United States Postal Service. And I noticed this week that my regular mail carrier I have always had for many years now has not been coming around. They've been using younger people doing it, people I've never seen before. In fact, I had a package left on the steps yesterday or they left it in the wrong place. They left it out on the side porch instead of the front hallway. So if it had been raining out, the package would have got wet. So now I'm going to have to deal with that crap. But I believe part of what the government has done to federal workers, which mail carriers are, is they have been offered a benefits package to retire early or retire outright. So they will still get their pensions and be paid for the next 9 to 12 months or something like that, regardless if they work or not. And my mail carrier is in his mid to upper 50s, so he may have decided to retire with an early retirement. He's been a federal worker since he was a veteran and came out of the service a few decades anyway. So I think we're going to see a lot of things like that. Federal buyouts that were in the news recently may be why I'm not seeing him, or he may just be on vacation, because a couple of times a year he goes on vacation with his wife, who owns a nail salon up the street, and he married her when he was in the service in Asia, and they've been together for many years, happy. And I guess twice a year they go back home and visit her relatives. That may be where he is, because the way this winter has been, that would probably be a good choice to go to Asia, where the temperatures are 70, 80 degrees. Southern Asia. So anyway, I just wanted to flip the camera around to say hi, and I'm going to flip it back around now. I don't feel too selfie streamish today, which is okay. Every day is different. Nothing personal. So let's flip this back around. And we will walk. See this here? That's the teeth of something that got killed. I don't know where it got killed. Buried in the snow, I guess. I have no idea what that is. It's not a person, thankfully, but that is parts of a skull with teeth in it. Who knows what's going to show up out of the snowbanks when everything melts. A couple of times in Maine's history, they've actually found dead bodies. Somebody that had wandered out into a snowstorm drunk, passed out in the snow, and then these snowplows came along and plowed him in till spring. I'd like to say that has never happened, but it has. Can you imagine that? Nobody's fault, except the guy that got drunk and went out into a snowstorm, walking for some reason. So anyway, another one of the executive orders Trump signed was cutting off funding for immigrants, illegals, not to pay for hotel rooms any longer and things like that. So there's a lot of things the Democrats are upset about, but hey, this is what people voted for. You know, enough is enough is enough. The other thing I wanted to talk about real quick, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on it, is the elections in Germany. They've been making a lot of national news, especially like with J.D. Vance going over and meeting with the AFD party over there, trying to give them a boost. The elections happened last night into today. Now, according to exit polling, okay, this is just exit polling. Early exit polling is suggesting that the Conservative Party in Germany got 29-point-something% of the vote. .1%. You have to understand there's 6 or 7 parties in Germany. They all eat up votes. So the biggest vote total was the Conservative Party, who is not the same as the Conservative Party here. They're more like a moderate, sometimes leaning left party who really aren't going to give the voters what they wanted. So that's too bad. But the AFD party is the far right party, similar to MAGA. They won 19-point-something%, and they are going to be the second strongest party in Germany, which is good news, because now the conservatives that sometimes lean moderate are going to have to rely on AFD votes in parliament to get things done. So that may be of benefit. We'll see what happens. But again, it's Germany. It's not really our problem. I feel bad for Germans who have been subjected to Angela Merkel's huge amount of immigrants that she let in stupidly. And, you know, people are tired of seeing images of police officers being stabbed in the back by Muslim extremist migrants who obviously don't want to be in Germany. They don't want to assimilate. So that's the kind of thing that's happening there that we don't want to see here. And Trump was not liking the results from ICE. So the ICE director has been fired by Trump, relieved of his duties. And I'm going to try somebody else. Now that has nothing to do with Tom Homan, who is the head person at ICE. This was just one of the directors, and he got fired because they're not getting enough arrests and deportations. So we have a timeline that we have to adhere to for midterms. The public needs to see results. They need to see crime numbers go down. They need to see deportations go up. They need to see the government stop wasting money on this foolishness. So it's a big responsibility for the Trump administration. And they're trying to get results. And you know how Trump is. If you're somebody in there not showing the results, you're going to get fired. So whether it's fairly done or unfairly done doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is results. And so government is now a results-based corporation, company, whatever you want to call it. Accountability is what we need. It's what we got. So we'll see what happens now. And that's not to say ICE isn't doing anything. They are. They're arresting and deporting a lot of people. But Department of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, South Dakota, she's going to have to make sure stuff gets done, or she will be fired too. And you know, Trump put all these people in these positions so they can get things done because they're good and they've been loyal to him. So it'll be interesting to see what happens if they have a difficult time with the current laws the way they are to get things done. If Trump's just going to keep firing people and replacing them and making enemies. You have to remember, almost everybody that has come back at Trump with salacious info, lies, and propaganda are people that Trump fired because they weren't doing their job good enough. A bunch of vindictive people who just want to get Trump back for their being fired. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I'll try to get over this mound here. I am going to have to tie my boot. It's like the second or third time I have to tie my boot right in the same spot. So I will be right back in a momento, okay? Hello everybody, I'm back. I had a boot that was loose. And I had to tie my other boot so they're both the same tightness. So stuff's really going to melt this week. So next week at the same time there will be a lot less snow to look at, which will make me happy. I'm not anticipating on getting much more snow, at least in the immediate forecast. But as I've stated before, we have had at the end of March and beginning of April last year, we had 2 major storms. Major, like 18 inches of snow in each one. So hopefully this year it'll just be rain. That would be welcomed. Rain does a lot of things, like getting rid of the snow. And sometimes I don't mind walking in the rain if it's not cold out. So we'll play things by ear with that. My back is a little stiff today. I didn't walk yesterday, but when we were at the range yesterday, which was really fun, by the way, I got to talk about a firearm I shot for the first time yesterday. But anyway, a lot of the range has about 18 inches of snow on it that hasn't been walked on yet, kind of like that right here. And so whenever you take a step, the snow goes halfway up your shin. I got snow in my boots. My socks got wet. It's not a nice experience. And the temperature when we got at the range was 9 degrees Fahrenheit, so that wasn't good either. Much warmer today. But Saturday is our range day, so we haven't gone for the past couple, and we wanted to go. And we did, and it was fun. Now the firearm in question that I shot, I'm going to flip the camera around, was it's either a 1905 or a 1906. I think he said it was a 1905. Remington Model 8, designed by Mr. Browning, John Browning. And it operates very similar to modern military guns. like those 50 caliber ship mounted guns, or those 80s. I think it's 80 or 88 caliber. I might be confusing it with the 80s or 88s that the Germans used in World War II, where the barrel is inside a sleeve, and every time the gun fires, the barrel kicks back because the bolt is attached to the barrel. So when the whole barrel and bolt kick back, it picks up another round. Very ingenious design. And so it is a 1905 auto-loading rifle. Remington Model 8, look it up. And primarily it was made with two calibers. One you can still buy today, 35 Remington, albeit rare, that's expensive. And the other one is a 30-30, but rimless, which they no longer make. Finding stuff to shoot in that is extremely difficult and very expensive. So I was allowed to take 4 shots with it. I didn't even ask how much the ammo was, because I'm sure it was probably $10 to $15 a round. So, I mean, I shot about $60 worth of ammo and only took 4 shots. I haven't verified that, but I'm just guessing. It's extremely rare, and that's typically the case with really rare ammo. Now, the 30 Remington is a 30-30. Basically the same cartridge as the Winchester 30-30, which has a rim for lever action rifles. But because it had to be semi-auto and an auto-loading rifle, it had to be remaking that cartridge to work in an auto-loader. So, it has a magazine that's built into the rifle, and you stuff the rounds in. I don't remember how many it held, 5 or 6 or something like that. And that rifle was also used when they arrested, well, they didn't arrest, they killed Bonnie and Clyde. Now I know they used the Thompson submachine gun, the Tommy gun, but some of the officers also had these 30-30 autoloaders, which also shoot 35 Remington. So anyway, my older brother bought this rifle, knowing that finding ammo for it would be just about impossible. And he said he knows somebody that does reloading that's going to reload some for him. And he's going to be reloading himself also. He's learning how to do it, so that would be a good thing to do. As long as he does it safely and correctly so he doesn't blow the gun up. But anyway, it was fun to shoot. Barely any recoil at all, because the rifle weighs more than a lever action 30-30 because of the barrel and then the sleeve around it. And so it absorbs a lot of the recoil, and it just felt like an extreme cream puff to shoot. I only shot 4 rounds, but I really enjoyed it. I did not get it filmed, unfortunately, but I can at another day, because like I said, it was 9, 10, 11 degrees, starting to get a little breezy, and I really didn't record very much. So that was really fun to shoot. Genius firearm design. You know, you see those big cannons on the side of ships? The whole barrel shoots back when it fires. It's the same principle. The charge from shooting the projectile kicks the bolt back, which is attached to the barrel, and then it picks up another round to shoot. Pretty cool. Of course. Sorry about that. I didn't mean to get violent with you. Be careful here. Whenever you see water on ice, that's the worst. That's the most slippery you can imagine. So anyway, like I was saying, we trounced around in the snow yesterday, walking through the field, and I gotta say it wasn't my most enjoyable experience, and my lower back is sore today because of it, and where my muscle attaches to my kneecap is also sore, which has to do with the patella tendon underneath my kneecap from a past injury where I almost lost my leg when I was 10 years old. I've told you guys about that 1,000 times. So I'm at the age now where every single past injury I've ever had creeps up on you and causes you misery. Anyway, started out this walk, it was windy, now it's not, so it feels warmer because of it. It'd be nice if the sun was out. It was most of the day till now. It's like, oh, J.Beau's gonna go for a walk. Time to hide the sun on him so he can be cold. Hope you enjoyed the woods walk yesterday. And I purposefully did the woods walk yesterday because I wanted a woods walk in the wintertime without all the political talk and without the firearms talking. So that's what I did. Not yesterday, the day before, but when I did the woods walk on Friday. You know, like I said, when I go on my walks, I talk about whatever I want to talk about, and I don't talk about what I don't want to talk about. You also don't want to get burned out on things either. And let's face it, you know, every walk is an hour and a half to 2 hours, depending on how many miles. And if I'm doing this every day, it makes it difficult to come up with things to talk about, which is why once in a while you'll see me upload a walk where I don't talk at all. I just put the camera on my head and just let it record. Now, the woman in my ear said that I've walked 3 miles, 55 minutes. Not my best time. My best time is 3 miles in about 45 minutes, which is about 15 minutes per mile. So I'm doing about 17 or 18 minutes a mile, which is kind of average. Still good. Yeah, make no mistake about that. I'm not out here trying to break records. I'm going to share the sidewalk with this person here, these people, whoever they are. Hello.
How's it going?
Hi. So last night, I spent some time cleaning some vinyl LPs that I had gotten a little while back. Just got around to cleaning them. So there's a couple of bands I'd never heard of before. I just took a chance on them and actually turned out to be pretty good. One of the albums is called, the band is Nowhere Fast, they're called. And on the cover is a woman, this hot-looking blonde, in this nice sports car on the side of the road. And they have her wheels and her steering wheel and stuff in their car, and they're in a limo. And they have the wheels on top of the limo, like they stole her wheels and her steering wheel, even though she's a hot blonde. And the front cover has the Ferrari with all of the tires taken off. And the band's called Nowhere Fast. And I thought that was pretty funny. The other band was called Gamma, kind of an electronic prog band, sort of. I'd never heard of, called Gamma, G-A-M-M-A. The album I listened to was Gamma 2, obviously their second album. And I liked it, so I may get their first album. Maybe. I was just thinking about taking a shortcut through this way, but I want to get my 6 miles today because I didn't walk yesterday because I went to the range, got exercise anyway, trouncing around in the snow, as I told you. The other album I got was a Pat Travers album. A really excellent guitar player that I like. Circa the 70s. This album is excellent. The album is called Heat in the Streets. It's the one where they were in reclining, kind of like lawn chairs, beach chairs, wearing shorts, sunbathing in a parking spot in the city, or City Streets, or Heat in the City, or forget the exact title. Anyway, a great album. I'll be listening to that one again later today, actually. Excellent album. Maybe I'll memorize the album title properly. Actually, I'm going to walk down this street. I walk by this street all the time, and I think I've walked down the other way one time. It goes where I'm going anyways. I'm still going to get my 6 miles. So I'm starting to get my lower back in shape for walking daily. I have my cardio stamina, which is good. I don't know what a stamina is, but stamina. I have the cardio. My lower lower back muscles are giving me fits, and they do every year when I start walking after not walking as much. So this is nothing new. It actually feels better than it has in past years. But my lower back is messed up. Has been for a long time. So yep. All right, well, I'll just march on. This is about the point now. I'm 3.5 miles. And my lower back starts burning. And then about another mile from now, it'll start feeling better because it's realizing it's not going to get the break it's trying to get me to do. So again, you know, the worst part about getting old is getting old. So, I got a feeling my back is going to be old before the rest of me. May even have to start wearing a back brace. That may be possible. Probably be helpful. It'll give me the support I need. No shame in that, I reckon. Not something I want to wear on a 100-degree day, though. Phew, I'm sweating pretty hard right now. There's a couple people on YouTube, I watch their walking videos, and they don't walk very often. And when they do, they're older. They're in their 50s, early 60s, trying to walk so they can stay alive longer. And all you hear when they're walking is I mean, they really don't sound healthy at all. So, wish you guys luck. But it's not sounding good. Whew. Oh, my lower back just has that burn. I don't know what other way to describe it. It's like a combination of muscle fatigue and physical pain and kind of a burning sensation. And it radiates from my lower right back into my left leg. And my left leg on my thigh has, can't really feel it when you touch it on the outside of my thigh on my left side. And that has to do with the disc issue on my back that I never had surgery for. And the reason being is I've seen too many stories of people getting back surgeries and they end up with the worst problem. And my disc is not fully ruptured. So, one of those things where the first few months were terrible. I had to roll off the sofa to get up. I couldn't get up and just like normal people, and it took quite a few months to get out of that. And now I don't have any issues like that at all because I use it. You know, it's kind of like a physical therapy. Other muscles in your back compensate, which is why I'm feeling that burning sensation. So, which is okay because it's going to make my back stronger. Which is why when I first start walking, it does this, and then after about a month of walking every day, it's not really an issue. I know I'm going to be happy when I get to wear my sneakers again instead of my boots. Sneakers are a lot lighter, easier to walk with. So walking with boots is not my favorite thing. So now my back is starting to feel less burning. Just like I said it does. It's always right around the 3.5 mile mark. Between that and the 4 mile mark, it goes from bothering me to kind of being a nuisance. I think it's literally like my body thinking, well, you're not going to be able to rest it, so we'll just wait. And then after I get home, nothing bothers me. So it doesn't bother me at all after I get home and, you know, sit down in a chair or something. So it's worth the effort, I guess, is my point. Now, if I didn't walk at all, my back would bother me pretty much most of the time. When I'm standing up just doing nothing in the house, it would bother me. But that's not an issue for me because I keep it strong by walking, so that's a good thing. It's just really strange when the left side of your body on your back feels normal and then your right side doesn't. It makes everything feel off balanced. So we're going to be going by a flag and a missing POW sign flag up ahead, which I always salute on my way by. It's where that Vietnam veteran lives. Older guy with big bushy beard. Bushy white beard. He has a good Santa Claus look going for him. Sun's trying to peek through the clouds there. Come on, do it. There's a tray here with an onion in it. For some reason. Salute as we go by. Truck. Whew. Wow, look at that old truck. That's cool. Been sitting there a while. think I ever noticed that truck there. Isn't that bizarre? I've walked by here so many times. That's the first time I see that truck. Now, was it there before? I'm going to have to check other walks. I'm sure it was. It looks like it's been there for a while. See that right there? I had to have seen that before. I'll walk around this big puddle. We just hit 4 miles. I'll definitely get my guaranteed 5 today. Possibly 6. Should have around 6. It might be in the close enough category, 5.92 or something. We'll just call it good, right? I have to change the battery up ahead. And I realize you may be skipping through the video instead of watching the whole thing. Some people watch the whole thing. Most people skip through, which is fine. No law against it. All right. The rest of this week's going to be very nice. A couple of days, especially Tuesday and Wednesday, I think. Mid-40s. One day says almost 50. So that's going to be really nice. We also just put in what is probably going to be the last heating oil purchase. Instead of 150 gallons, went 100 at $3.59 a gallon. $3.59.9. Might as well just say $3.60. It's basically what it is. And hopefully that'll get us to mid-April, because mid-April is usually when the heat doesn't get turned on anymore. And it'll be kind of gradual, you know, it's not going to be like, you know, we've had like below 0 at night, high of 20, 25. That really sucks up the heating oil. But we're not going to have that, so it's actually going to use less heating oil. And we weren't empty to begin with, so even the supply companies this year got caught off guard by the unusually cold weather. There's been media reports in the local news of a couple of oil delivery companies that haven't been able to meet the demand. People have had to wait 2 to 3 weeks for a delivery. Now most people, they calculate the delivery and say, okay, well, it is on 1/8 of a tank. So if I call now, within a week I'll get a delivery and I'll be fine. So when it's delayed 2 to 3 weeks, people will run out of oil. So there was definitely a bigger demand this year than the supply, but they have since met the supply and prices didn't shoot up. So that's good. Haven't had any issues with our oil company, but some of them have. So it's okay. Right? Pretty good. Looks like they took a tree out here. Wood chips all over the road. Well, they were running a wood chipper. Well, this walk is going to feel good to get over with. I smell pine. I smell pine tree. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Pretty good. Cross over this way. You guys get a dog. I don't know that dog. I'll play it safe. He's got him leashed. That's okay. Cross back over now. I think the Trump flag still out here. Trump 2024. All right. I'll be glad when my lower back muscles come back fully. I'll be very happy about that. Now that woods walk I did Friday, that was a lot more walk and work than walking in the city. It was like walking on sand on the beach for 5 or 6 miles. I just hit 4.5 miles, according to the app lady in my ear. Definitely have a really good heavy sweat going. My shirt is soaked, which is good. A nice hot shower later. Here on this Sunday afternoon. Sunday. Yeah, I had an interesting experience day before yesterday. I had some anxiety going. a couple other things I'm not going to discuss, but it's turning into a bad day. And I got down on a knee and said a prayer for God to help me feel better. And after I was done, I sat on the edge of my bed and I felt this wave like come over me, and I just felt better. It was nice. It was a good moment. You know, God listens to you. He's always there. Very grateful for that. I'm grateful for the things I have, and I'm not upset about the things I don't have. And when I pray, I never pray for things or anything of monetary value. I don't know why people do that. I don't think that's good. I should pray for other people. It's usually what I do. Anyways, just thought I'd share that with you. God is great. God bless you guys, and I hope you pray. And I got a lot of changes in people's lives coming. Long overdue in this country. Some of the changes are going to be what people want. Some are going to be what they don't want. But in the long run, it'll be the best thing for people. So, we'll get there. So I'm going to work on my way towards the end of this walk. Still got another 1.5 miles, maybe 2. Definitely less than 1.5 miles talking with you before I stop recording. This is about where I believe I should just change the battery now, actually. So I'll be right back. All right. Fresh battery. Oh, I'll be glad when all this melts. This makes it so much more difficult to walk. It really does. Yeah, like right here, this is all like walking in beach sand. It's starting to melt, and it's a little wet, and it gives way when you walk. There we go. Now I got some normal pavement. I hate that. I hate it. Big frost heave in this road. The middle crown is sticking up much higher than it should be. Well, probably doesn't show up too well on here, but that's an unusual peak in the middle of the road. A very high crest. Now when the ground finishes thawing out, that will go down, and that's what cracks the pavement. This is a brand new road they just put in, so it might not, but it may. We've walked past this part where we had the machines that put the hot asphalt in. Good news is, well, tomorrow the temperature might be the same as today. So instead of wearing this big thick hoodie on top of a hoodie, I might wear my XXL hockey jersey over my hoodie with 2 shirts underneath. Would not be as warm as this one I'm wearing, but I am definitely too warm right now. And tomorrow's temperature is going to be similar, a little bit warmer than today. Then Tuesday and Wednesday is going to be in the 40s, almost 50. So definitely will be wearing a lot less clothing. I got to keep an eye on the crest of this hill. Never know what's going to come over the top of this. Comes a white vehicle. They saw me. That's all I care about, is seeing some kind of indication that they see me. I just hit 5 miles. Now today I thought about doing just a 5-mile walk. Probably should have taken that route. So if I feel similarly tomorrow, I'll do just 5 miles. Because I just hit 5 miles and I definitely feel like I wish my walking for today was over with. Excuse me. Get some woods off to the left here. That's where we went walking yesterday, Friday, on the woods walk, except on the other part. So geez, we got to see part of a skull today with teeth. That was interesting. Wasn't a human skull, thankfully, but something got killed. Well, they haven't replaced the Thorn Crag sign yet that broke. I'm sure they'll make something and come back and install it. But what happened is part of the sign there looks like it wood rotted and then it broke in a storm, maybe because of wind. But they're probably going to build a whole new one, come install it. So we'll walk a little bit ahead here and I'll end the video. You know, it's one of those things where I'm glad spring is almost here. Not quite here yet, but it's definitely, there's been a change. And we got through a winter that was tough this year. The only good news was because of all the bitter cold temperatures, we didn't get much snow all winter until the past 2-3 weeks. And then we got some snow. And we'll get warmer for a couple days, snow, and then cold again. Now the jet stream is dipping, going up higher in the country. So people down south are going to warm up too. Probably dramatically in some places. I saw Arkansas hit 24 degrees. They were actually colder than we were past couple days. Very strange. So they're going to warm up to 60-70 degrees. I'm sure they'll be happy about that. There's an older guy I know online. I've known him for 3-4 years now. Really nice guy. Former Marine, which I guess there's no such thing as a former Marine. But has his own shop. He's a gunsmith. Retired gunsmith. He's like 70 something. And he's experiencing lung failure. And there's no way to cure that or fix it other than a lung transplant. And at his age, I'm not sure what the benefits of that would be. So, sounds to me like he's accepted the fact that his time here is done. Doesn't know how much time he has, but I'm happy to be friends with him anyway. So, anyway, life marches on, right? So we're gonna head on up ahead here, and let me say my goodbyes now. I want to say thank you for walking with me. Click like and subscribe. Share the content. I have a little over a mile left to go, but I don't want to reveal the location of the bat cave. So God bless you all. Stay safe, take care of one another, and enjoy the good things coming to this country. People are going to have more money than they have in quite a while. Things are really going to change for the better. And so we just got to get through this patch we're in right now, which is kind of a necessary evil to get beyond. So everything's going to be kind of shook up and off and chaotic, it'll seem like, but it's organized chaos. And we'll talk to you later, friends. See you on the next walk. God bless you and your family. Stay safe and take care of yourself. Get out walking. Get out and take care of yourself. We'll see you guys soon. And until the next walk. Bye bye, friends. See ya.